Hello and welcome to the social listening segment here on the BDTV Breakfast Show. This is where we get to take a closer look at some of the stories that are stirring reactions online. My name is Elizabeth Musa, and of course joining me in the studio this morning is
Onyeka Valentine.
All right.
Let's jump into this.
Let's jump into the conversation today. I know you are itching, I can tell. We begin with a report about the South-East, which says that the region has lost 7.6 trillion naira in just 4 years, and the reason being the weekly sit-at-home order by the indigenous people of Biafra, which is IPOB. According to the report by SBM Intelligence, the sit-at-home protest, which started as a show of solidarity for IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu, has now become a full-blown economic and humanitarian crisis. Now, most businesses shut down every Monday across Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo State, not necessarily out of loyalty, but out of fear. Now, SBM says the situation has caused over 776 deaths, more than 330 attacks, and deep damage to schools, markets, and jobs. This is a disastrous situation right now, because what started as a political protest has now become an economic disaster, and that's what we're seeing. It's things that happen in Nigeria.
I mean, like you say, when Nigeria happens to you, you either adjust or it will adjust you. And so, you see, again, look at it from these two angles, because it has a flip side. Now, the idea why it started in the first place was for their voice to be heard, saying that their leader has been, incarcerated, or put it this way, locked up against his will, although court proceedings has been going back and forth. Even him, Nnamdi himself, complained about, the court not doing what they needed to do and the law is not being interpreted properly. But that's on one side. Let's face this matter of sit-at-home issue. Have you ever traveled to the East?
No, I haven't.
Believe it or not, the East attracts a lot of revenue for the country, because as people know, right, it's no news that trade and businessmen, trade per se, is driven by predominantly Igbo people, right? The bringing of container and all that stuff. But look at the economic damage. I'll start with that. And then I also start with the fact that other yearnings. Now, I'm not for or against anybody. I'm just speaking plainly here. It is costing the nation huge amounts of money, right? We're losing a lot of money.
Yes, because every Monday for how many years now?
But
that's a lot of
the
money.
question is, are some people allowing their egos to kick in?
How do you mean?
I will explain. The money that we're losing, right? If that money can better the lives of Nigerians, if that money can make schools be better, if that money can make insecurity almost become, bring down the level of insecurity, if that money can put into good use, then some people should have their shoulder lower than head. So it's no longer a matter of standing in for Nnamdi Kanu, saying they should release him, or less the work wouldn't and business wouldn't flow on Mondays. It has now moved to the point where it's now more political. Let's be honest. The political actors within these various political parties are using it as arms. Well, when I say arms, you know what I mean? As, instruments for a lot of economic issues. Let's be honest. If someone, for instance, says he wants to invest a lot of money in the East, he knows already that, look, Mondays, Abia, Anambra, and then the other states will not function based on business. Don't you think they will move those investments to other states? And so, if, for instance, I am within the governor, whatever forum that they have, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, if this money moves away from the north down to the east, is it going to favor me or not? Why not we stand with the fact that this IPOB thing or whatever it is favoring us? So, politically, let's even frustrate it even more. Or let's just give them what they want. But again, what is it being charged for? Right? Would it make the government look bad if they just simply say, okay, release him? Would they lose face? Think about all this. All this is coming into play.
Right.
And so, if we're losing money, the question is, what is costing the first place? Is it worth we losing this amount of money? Look at the index. Look at the amount of money.
It's a lot of money. But let's see some of the reactions on social media, because it's social listening, and definitely we are listening. Let's see some of the reactions making the round on social media. Of course, there's one from Igbo Lexicon. Igbo Lexicon says, Southeast Nigeria has lost $900 trillion to shut down to shut down of Eastern Economic Corridor since 1970. Nigeria is a disaster to Southeast. What of the loss of lives due to over-militarism?
That is more important to talk about.
Let's see more reactions to this conversation. Hey, Dr. Ifeanyichukwu says Nigeria has lost, not Southeast. Then he ends it there. You can tell someone that is already tired. Now, this person quotes it. Dare Omo Iyalekon says, in quote, this is in quotes, he says 7.6 trillion lost is a huge blow to the people and the economy. To those behind these sit-at-home orders, please stop this madness. You are destroying lives and businesses. It's time to find peaceful solutions and let people get back to living and working. That's from Dari. Mayor, who is at OBJ3, says Southeast have lost more than double of that amount from police and army extortions. I believe so, because there are going to be people at home who, you know, have maybe find themselves moving. I remember when I used to host a show, the morning show then, and there's a man we used to have, Chukuma Okenwa, and every morning when he has to, on Mondays when you have to have him, he said, anyway, it's good. I mean, I'm sitting at home, so then we'll have him. I can imagine having to be on the streets when that last commenter that says that Southeast would have even lost more when it comes to police and army extortion. I believe so, because they would also see this as opportunity. Oh, what are you doing on the street? Oh, yeah.
To cash in.
Yeah, they'll cash in. Yeah, you have to pay this fine. Yes. And those are the issues.
So I have an opportunity to travel during this whole sit-at-home thing. When I got to Delta State, before you cross the Niger Bridge, you could feel the tension. If you arrive there on maybe a date, say on a Sunday, you have to stay in a hotel, right? Knowing that, or better, so you're moving very quickly at late at night, or even worse, if you fly in on a Monday and you're going to Anambra, say for instance, and so you stop at the Delta Airport, you're forced to think that it might not be safe for you to go in at that time. But I tell you, I mean, when I visited there, I went on a Monday, and I realized that, look, will I say Nigerians, or maybe we in the media, there is some level of exaggeration going on. Let's be honest. Yes, I can tell you. Because transportation, you see vehicles and commercial drivers moving freely, doing what they have to do.
So nothing happens.
That's what I'm telling you. But some major industries and some government offices might not open.
Okay.
So there's something like that. So when I see the numbers saying that amount of money is being lost, I don't totally agree with the numbers. Again, like I told you, it's an opportunity for some people, some political actors to weigh in to make you think that they're losing so much money. So let us kill this idea and, push them off the street and let business come back to play. Again, are you going to listen to them and give them what they want? Is it tete-a-tete, give and take? We don't know which way is more. But I can tell you, having gone on ground on a Monday, I was able to move from Onitsha down to Oka and back again. Of course, we met some strange-looking security people who say they're working for the government. But again, even at that, nobody was really stopped saying, "Hey, don't go here."
So you don't think it's as bad as it's being painted to be?
It's not as bad as that.
All right, let's move on to another conversation right here on the social listening segment here on BDTV Breakfast Show, where civil servants across Nigeria are getting some relief. Now, the federal government has begun disbursing the long-awaited 35,000 naira wage award. Now, the payments cover a 5-month period and are now being issued in installments. This wage award was agreed last year to cushion the impact of fuel subsidy removal and currency reforms, but implementation had been delayed. Now, according to the Office of the Accountant General, several workers have already received their payment, although no official press briefing was held. Well, Valentine, this is where I bring you in again. With inflation still biting, is this enough? Is this money? Is it enough to ease the pressure on workers? But hold on, hold your thought. I think let's just see the reactions on social media very briefly, then, because I know that you have a lot to even say about the reactions. Now, Just Wisdom says, so what will 35,000 naira do for them? Let's see more reactions. Nura Usman says, that is for the workers at the center, but for those of us working in the subsector of the economy, situation remains the same. Neither first payment nor second installment. That is, none of it works. Let's see more reactions. Aminatu Hadi says, the whole essence of that wage word was to serve as an incentive to federal workers. Why did they cut the payment since first quarter of last year, 2024, until now, and they want to pay in piecemeal? I see no logic.
Absolutely.
Aminatu has had enough. Lanko_C says, paying the 35,000 naira wage award in installment is an act of extreme unfairness. Workers are owed 5 months arrears, totaling 175,000 naira. Why not settle all the arrears at once to help ease the financial burdens workers are facing? But because of wickedness, you won't pay, says Shegu. Look, I'm completely all for this last comment I read. Sawun says they steal in billions or fail to give the masses the little that belongs to them.
You know, when you get into a gunfight with a knife, you don't even need anyone to explain to you what the outcome will be. I mean, the federal government has the yam, they do have the knife, they have the tray. All we have is just our voices.
Yeah, that's why we have to amplify this conversation.
That's my point. And you see, the sooner we understand that government is for the people, by the people, and of the people, the sooner we understand these things, guess what? The better. Some people still see government as government is there to give us everything that we need. Now, I want to be very objective with this now. I understand the 5,000 is nothing, but I want to come from the angle of entrepreneurship right now. See, when you are used to collecting handouts or collecting salary as a whole, I'm not saying you don't have financial security, but when you're used to be giving these things back to back, but I'm not making a case for the government. I'm just saying generally. When we're used to these things, guess what? Your creative sense and your business sense will dampen. Why? Because you are waiting for money to come to your pocket. Yes, it is small money. Yes, it doesn't go anywhere. But have you thought about the opportunity in Nigeria? The economic, look, the opportunity in Nigeria is so huge that challenges are important. So those opportunities will come out. The problem is most people don't see those opportunities. They are caught up in dogma. Dogma is thinking about using, solving out issues from other people's thinking. If I was someone, again, I'm not, if I'm someone who is supposed to run through this and say, okay, let's increase the amount of money, I will say this. I will take bulk of that money, put into security, make sure the country is secured first.
Okay.
Then take bulk of that money, right? Put into healthcare, make sure healthcare works well.
Okay.
Make sure every other thing that is basic as a Nigerian, that those areas work. And I tell you, even if you're being paid 35,000 naira, I'm not saying it is enough money, but if you're being paid that amount of money, because things are already working, not spending too much money on fueling your generator for your business and other areas, I bet you that will just be added handkerchief money. Because the opportunities in Nigeria are vast. If we don't have opportunities, why are foreigners tripping in? We don't have opportunities, why are people crossing our borders?
So what are you saying in essence?
What
really?
I'm trying to say
understand.
in essence is that 35,000 naira, yes, is not much. But if you diversify and work into other areas, other businesses, you realize that you not depend on that money at all.
Okay, that's what you mean.
That's what I'm heading to.
I think
because that money will not increase.
I think
Let's be honest.
They should pay. I think I'm just for the commenter that said that you're owing 35. Yes, you're to pay 35,000 naira, but then why not just add up the entire,
Why lean on the government? That's my take.
Look.
Because let me tell you, we know that they are not giving us what we want.
I understand where you're coming from, but give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Because I like our like we have a different view. But if government has said people are paying taxes,
right?
So what are you making use of my tax for? So if you're to pay XYZ amount of these people, then pay them. 5,000 naira is nothing in the scheme of things. These are people earning billions of naira every other day, and I'm talking literally and figuratively. So what is 35,000 naira in the scheme of things? So I hear you when you say, people should embrace entrepreneurship.
That's the way to go.
But then give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar. We have to go to the last conversation now. Now, I saw this one yesterday, and my mind was blown. Now, a bizarre story has definitely left the internet buzzing. Now, a businesswoman recently discovered that the sales rep she hired 3 weeks ago, who she thought was a woman, is actually a man named Kunle. pretending to be a woman. Imagine Mr. Valentine being upset. Now, no, but let me finish up. Now, the truth actually came out after the businesswoman's sister walked in on him while he was bathing and discovered this deceit. Now, that's the video trending. You can hear the woman confronting him in shock and threatening to call the police on him. However, Kunle's explanation is that he was only trying to get a job. But let's see this video. Let's watch.
So you be boy. So you be boy. You can't pretend say you be gay. Why? Oh yeah, they talk. They talk. If you don't want to call police, nah, they talk. I will call police. I will call police. Talk loud now. I will call the police. Oh yeah, talk. I will call the police now. Start talking. Oh yeah, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. Oh yeah, I'm hearing you. This ain't a joke. You don't know, say me. I get grace for head. You don't know who I be because you did with me for house. Start talking. Let me start calling people now. Stay here. Oh yeah, talk. I'm hearing you. I'm here. If you don't talk, I go call police. Oh yeah, I'm hearing you. What's happen? Why you pretend say you be girl?
I just wanted to
come
hear
my house.
The part where
and you don't stay for my house more than 3 weeks now. I think say you be girl. I don't know say you be boy. Why you do like that? See my hand they shake. My hand they shake. I don't believe him. My hand they shake. I feel fall down for yourself. I swear I don't believe him. Oh yeah, they talk. See, as my body they shake so now I try to take deal with you. What's happen? Because I'm looking for a job. I'm hearing you. Speak louder. I'm hearing you.
That's the key word right there, because I was looking for a job. So then it makes me ask the question, is this justifiable? I mean, people are looking for jobs. You do all sorts to get a job, and then you get a job. But then there's a part of deceit. But then again, I have a question. Is there a place in the law that says deceit is an unlawful crime? I mean, morally it's wrong, but lawfully is it wrong in the Constitution? No.
So they say there's something they call unwritten law on the wall. But let's be honest. Let's look at it from this angle. He said I don't want to say he. That's why I say he or she. But okay, so Shim said that because he needed a job. But again, there's no excuse, right, for breaking the law. But let's look at it very closely. Is there a law that's been broken here? There is a law against OBT obtained by tricks. So if he obtained the job by tricks, I don't know. We need to talk to a lawyer, a legal advisor to let us know, is this punishable by law? But even at that, morally, now let's come back to the angle of being moral. You see, I blame Bobrisky and his cronies, all those people on social media and people who follow them and give them enough, publicity. Because I mean, social media now is, as much as it can inform you, it can also destroy, a lot of things. I'm sure he has a smartphone, so he sees all those things that people can get away with.
Yeah.
To say, wait a minute, if I can dress as a girl and paint and then look all that stuff, I can deceive this person and then get this job, and begin to believe his lie. So can you imagine how long he has been believing that lie to begin to even act that lie? So I think we should start with the angle of course, there is a law against homosexuality, gay, whatever it is in our nation. Attracts 14 years, that's fine. But is there a law against cross-dressing and all that stuff?
Not that I know of at the moment.
So if we don't have, should we begin to tie that idea of cross-dressing that youths these days see as a way of gaining content, tie it with the issue of 14 years imprisonment? And who are their mentors? Because let's be honest, there are many jobs out there. Yes, mentors, yes. Because not just one, there are a lot of them. A lot of cross-dressers. And let's be honest, some of these politicians see them and invite them for functions.
Exactly,
and
that's the thing.
Yeah, when it comes for functions,
it seems to be giving them some sort of clout that they wouldn't have had if they were not even cross-dressing.
I can tell you, and this is just me speaking figuratively. Now he has gone viral. If he has a social media page, don't you think there are people who admire such things who want to reach out to him?
Because there are actually people that are on his side. But let's see some of the reactions on social media to this conversation, because there have been people that are saying that, you know what, you're even wrong to be filming him. Why not just go to the police? Video
but she needed proof.
She needed proof, actually. Video
Evidence.
IoT says this hustle is getting out of hand. This is a criminal offense operating with a false identity. Kiri first before explanations.
No, now.
Dude, don't see her finish. Well, let's see more reactions. Who does that? I like that name. I am TG Bank says, why you people won't stop asking for sales girls? Exactly. As if boys can't do the job. Okay, so that's also something we need to address. You already know. I'm liking these names. Mr. Blinks made it, said, what's the crime? If he didn't steal, just fire him for being deceitful. Why videotaping him? So you see there are people that are also on his side. Damola Olarewaju says, 3 weeks under the same roof and she didn't suspect a thing. That boy deserves an award for acting. I'm sure his voice must even sound a little bit like a lady. J Gig says if he is competent in what he was doing, rather than sack him, let him continue his job. But now as a boy or man, many weak men are porting to being ladies because they see ladies get everything they want cheaper. Reason why the misguided Bobrisky, who happens to be their mentor,
I didn't read this
ported and started encouraging the rest. I do agree with this comment. In fact, I agree with all of the commenters. Alvin Uzo says, how is it that she didn't notice his man? No, that has nothing to do with it. Because I have people personally that I know that have masculine voices, and they are ladies. If you're talking to them on the phone, you'll be like, hi, sir. And then they tell you, no, my name is Vivian. So I don't think that has anything to do. But I see the point of why are you videoing? Because I mean, lawfully, is that even right?
I mean, let's be honest. Like, I keep saying let's be honest, but well.
Yes, but we need to be honest.
Most definitely. So even if you travel abroad, when the cop stops you, he has a body camera there. Right? Now, I don't know if the laws that don't apply here, but normally our road safety officials or regulators, last month, they have their camera, isn't it so? So if something's happened under your roof, mark my words, if she had tweeted this, or put it this way, she had gone on X to say, look, my housemate just turned out to be a boy.
They will say things that never happened. Hashtag.
Most definitely. So she needed a proof. I think I'll also give her credit. I don't think they laid the finger on the boy.
They didn't.
That's one. So let's give her credit for that. Let's also give her credit that she held back herself, right? Not to carry out jungle justice. Because let's be honest. Have you thought about the fact that she might have been walking around her own house without clothes?
Yes.
And he's busy just having a free time?
Right.
Have you thought about the free show? Have you thought about the fact that they could have been saying some certain things, that women discuss that probably shouldn't be where men are or something, just to have their privacy. And then him. It's him or whatever he's throwing in. So, I mean, just to put a cap on this, I think to be on his side first, I think, well, he needed a job, and so he went that route. Also, on her own part, she needed a girl. And for a reason why she needed a girl, think about it. She needed a girl so that she can have her privacy, and then girl can do some certain chores and wash female clothes and all that stuff.
Oh, but I think for me, this also highlights a little bit of the gender inequality gap that we tend to face in certain jobs.
Coming there.
Because when we say sales, always when you see posters, you see sales girl needed. I think some people even use sales girl as the umbrella description for whether boy or girl. I think so, because at this point I'm thinking that if I was a boy, I would apply. So you said sales girl needed. I'm a boy, but I think that's an umbrella name.
Attractive.
Yeah. So because it's looking like the guys are thinking. Well, they are thinking, but sometimes you need to live the life to realize. I think the guys are thinking that ladies are having it easy. I mean, the opportunities are there for ladies. Bobrisky would have not been popular or become this sensation if he never cross-dressed and became, sort of like a lady. Now he calls himself Mommy of Lagos.
There's an eye-opener to this thing, very quickly. For him to have done this, it shows how desperate Nigerian youths are just to survive. Give him credit. He didn't go out to go and steal. He said, I will get this job. Yeah. Even if it means me being faced with embarrassment eventually. So if I am the Minister of Youth or the Commissioner for Youth or whatever it is, I will say, okay, this has happened. Before we throw him in jail for invading privacy, how do we turn this narrative and begin to use it to educate people and help people get jobs, genuine jobs?
Because
Sales
how much
boys
is it? How much
over
is he
sales
earning?
girls.
I can't imagine how much the pay would have even been. It would have been anything. So I think I commend him. I firstly commend him for deciding. I'm trying to find my words the best possible way. For decide, yes,
moral against the laws.
I commend him
Right.
for not going to steal, for not going tilting to armed robbery or becoming those people on the street that are saying, Ofekoja, give me this amount on top of what.
Explain
I
us.
commend him for deciding to render a service. I think that is unfortunate that people tend to always look out for sales girls when you can look for sales girls or sales boys. But I also think that this also goes back to an underlying situation in the society that needs to be addressed. Where it seems like ladies are the ones that can do certain things. Maybe a lady will be more attentive at home. She can be the one to, just manage a job. But I've seen really exceptional men be sales boys. My landlady has boys as sales boys, and they are fantastic.
Good at it.
So I think people need to clear out that narrative. But I commend him for deciding to look for a job as against going on the street to extort people of money or going to armed robbery or whatever. However, if it looks like this thing, but he went to render a service. So that's where I really stand at.
Oh, well, like they say, the video is out there already. There's something to learn from it. And it has a flip side. So let's leave it at that.
The government just needs to address like you said, this desperation that people have for jobs. Much. So it's just showing the level of unemployment that people are facing and how the extent people will go. So today we're talking about someone disguising as this, and tomorrow it might be something even much more worse.
It could be a woman disguising as a man to get a security job. What would I say?
Oh, I mean, we have to just wrap it up today, right now. Thank you so much, Val. This conversation was truly, I enjoyed having this conversation with you this morning.
Same here.
Well, that's been the social listening segment here on the BDTV Breakfast Show. My name remains Elizabeth Musa, and up next we have the Global Business Insight by Bode Oshosomi. Stay tuned.